you just press on the chat and ask a question through there, which would be great. Okay, just a little bit to start off with. Just as an idea just come up with a couple of days ago, and it's being put together really quickly. You know, it's about the Tropicana show, and I think we got about 6,000 people that were interested or opened up the file or looked at it, which is pretty amazing from a little club that's just started. The thing with the cow horse here in Australia at the moment, it's a developing sport. It was here about 25, 30 years ago, and it was very strong. Over the last 3 years through ARCHA and bodies like that it brought it forward. They've had a couple of major shows in Scone. It's been driven from a guy called Jay Gordon, who's done an amazing job to get this up and running. The Tropicana group has picked up on it, and we'd like to support him and develop it a little bit more through our horse show that comes up in July, which is only 3 weeks away. Over that time, we've been asked a lot of questions on what are the events and what are the rules and who dictates the rules and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to go through a little bit about tonight. If you have any questions, do put them in the chat. Jess will let me know that they're there, and she will get me to go through them towards the end of the deal tonight. Moving on, the Tropicana show is something we've come together, and there's been a great group of people that have put a lot of time and effort into developing this horse show. It runs from the 7th to the 11th of July at QSEC. The first 3 days are predominantly the halter classes and the pleasures and the trails and the hunter under saddles. Moving into Friday night, QRHA's come on board with us, and they're running a feature reining on Friday night. I think there's about $1,000 up on the open and $500 on the non-pro class with buckles. Saturday we move into the ranch side of things, the Western dressage, and then on the Saturday night there's the barrels over at the old Caboolture Showgrounds, and then the feature cow horse at QSEC. Prior to that, on the Friday at 1 o'clock, the ranch versatility show starts, and it's got some cow events as well. I'll just get Jess to pop up the program for us. Jess, if you just pop that up, and then we'll just talk through that program. So we'll start with the ranch versatility on the Friday. So this is our ranch versatility classes on Friday. Shane Massingham and I did a video about 3 weeks ago over at Gatton, as we work closely with the Gatton Quarter Horse Association as well. So the first class we've got on Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock is the Tyson Performance Horses All Age Classic. So that's a ranch versatility class. It's a full cow horse to an extent where you box a cow in the end. You have to make 2 turns turn each way down the fence. Then you can rope the cow. So you have to rope the cow and pull it to a stop. The Australian rules allow us to go through, and if you miss your ropes, you can go through and circle up, take a 2-point penalty, and continue to be in the class. The next class that comes up is the All Age Youth Limited Cow Work, which is a box drive box class. The AQHA rulebooks is slightly different to the NRCHA, and we'll talk about that a little later on in that frame. The V3 is all aged amateur limited cow work. It's a similar class. It's a box drive box class again, and once again we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. And then we've got a beginner boxing, so that's just the boxing class, and we'll talk about that as well. So that comes up under the AQHA rules and the NRCHA rules as well. Okay, Jess, if you want to go down a little further on the program. So Saturday the 10th, we've got some ranch reining classes, as you can see there. Keep going down, Dale, until the cow horse feature class. So then we've got the cow horse feature class, which is a 2-handed class. Once again, we'll discuss that. That's an ARCHA class. So that's also a qualifier for the national finals if you are an ARCHA member. Okay, so it's a $1,500 plus added plus buckle. Okay, and then we move down to on the Sunday program, and we'll cover all these classes in the presentation. Keep going, Jess. That's the ranch pleasures. So they'll run in this second arena over at Caboolture Showgrounds. And then we come down to the cow horse stuff on the Sunday, which is the boxing at QSEC, which is a two-handed feature boxing, which is ARCHA. Then we have the AQHA youth, which is slightly different. Okay, it's a novice youth class. Then we come down to the AQHA amateur class, which is, once again, it's another boxing class, but it's slightly different rules again. So you need to make sure you check through your rule books. One's AQHA, other one's ARCHA or NRCHA. Okay, so the two-handed advanced boxing, so that's an advanced boxing, so there's a box drive box class, that's ARCHA. So just be well aware of it. And we'll make sure everybody knows their rules, and we'll have boards up around with the rules on them for you to follow. And then we go down, just keep going down just so we can see a little bit more of that program. Then we go into the snaffle bit class, okay, which is an ARCHA class as well, or AQHA ARCHA class, the Blue Ridge Hackamore class, which is a feature class. And then we have the ARCHA bridle class, and we also have a two-rein class, okay? Now, within this, we run this in conjunction with the AQHA rules, so, and we'll explain the difference as we roll on. So if you want to ride your snaffle bit horse and you're not a member of ARCHA or NRCHA, we'll talk you through that. When it comes to combined classes like this, where these classes are run as an AQHA class and an NRCHA or ARCHA class, we predominantly use the AQHA rulebook to cover headgear as well. So that's the agreement that Australian Rein Cow Horse has with AQHA Australia. Okay, Jess, let's come back to the main screen, and we'll talk a little bit about equipment rules. So any stage you've got any questions, if you just go to the chat site and let Jess know, and we'll readdress them as we go through. Probably the best thing, if you can get hold of the latest NRCHA rulebook, is what ARCHA runs. So there's lots of acronyms in. So one's the National Rein Cow Horse of America. ARCHA is the Australian Rein Cow Horse Association, and then we've got AQHA rules as well. So it's a little bit of a minefield at times, but hopefully at the horse show and through tonight's video, we can talk you through that a little bit, make it a little less scary. These are great events. Over the last 2 years, I've been lucky enough to judge the national finals twice and judge ARBC twice, and it's great to see the growth of cow horse in Australia and people back showing cow horses. It was described to me a lot of years ago, I'm talking 25, 30 years ago, when I worked for Ian Francis. He trained a lot of cow horses back then, and it's traditionally a three-phase event. It's got the cutting phase, the reining phase, and then the fence work phase. So it's probably one of the toughest events to train a horse for. And back in the day, we only had cow horses. We didn't have a boxing class or an advanced boxing class. So it's been great to see the development from NRCHA in America to have classes leading, say, the boxing class where you start, then you go on to the box drive box class, and they call that a beginner cow horse class in America now, and then into the full cow horse. So they're all been development classes, okay? So it's been a great thing with ARCHA developing here through Jay Gordon and his team. They've changed it a little bit, and they've made classes where you can come in and with the two-handed classes. And some of the rules on that are, the two-handed rein cow horse class, it's open to everybody, regardless of skill level, any aged horse, ridden in a snaffle bit, hackamore, in any saddle. So those classes that have got the ARCHA class there, that are the two-handed class, they're the conditions you can go in that. If your horse has won three events in those classes, that horse is not eligible, and it's horse-based. It's not based on the rider. Okay, so you can develop those horses through those two-handed classes. Okay, and those classes have a two-handed rein cow horse class, a two-handed advanced boxing class, and also a two-handed straight boxing class. And we'll talk a little bit later on about the difference between a boxing class, an advanced boxing class, and a full cow horse class, and we'll draw some pictures on the screen after and let you know about that. You know, probably the rules that we need to be aware of, and we'll start with the NRCHA rules for those open events and the qualifier events, and then we'll touch a little bit on the AQHA rules. So with the NRCHA, you need to make sure in the bridle classes you're showing a solid mouthpiece with a ramal and a 1/2-inch leather curb strap, okay? Now, those leather curb straps aren't allowed to have keepers on them that have metal that touches the horse's chin. So just be aware of that. And that's probably one of the things I see as a judge pop up in those NRCHA classes. So they're the full qualifier classes for ARCHA's national finals. So in that saying that, you know, I was asked a question yesterday about, do the reins have to be connected with leather? No, the reins can be connected by chain, hook, as long as it doesn't touch the jaw. The only other thing in that situation, if you have a swinging shank on that bit, they need to be connected on the bottom by a leather strap. They're not allowed to be connected by baling twine or anything like that. We will try to get some pictures up on the website of the Tropicana website in the next couple of days. Oh, sorry, the Facebook page, to show you through those rules. So just be aware, if it's NRCHA or ARCHA class and it's a bridle class, you must show in a ramal, a solid mouthpiece, a leather curb strap, and the shanks of the bit must be connected, okay? And we'll put those pictures up there. When we talk about the hackamore classes, you know, there's legal sizes for a hackamore class for the NRCHA and ARCHA hackamore class. Same with the snaffle bet classes. All these rules can be found on the NRCHA website. If you Google that, it'll come up there. You can print it off or have a good look at it. So just make sure if you're shown in those classes that are qualifier classes for NRCHA or ARCHA finals here in Scone in November, that you have the correct equipment. I'll be on the gate at Tropicana and I'll be checking letting you know which class you're in and what legal equipment you need to have. So we'll make sure we help you right through that. As I said, it's a bit of a minefield at the moment because there's so many rules and so many rule books to go through. Okay, so we'll make sure we can look after you through that. If you have a query, just find me at Tropicana and we can help you through it, okay? Moving on in the rule book, we look at broken equipment. If you have a broken equipment, you can, in the cow work, if you get to a chance, so in between the rein work and the cow work, you can have a minute to fix that broken equipment. You're not allowed any assistance from outside. You must do it in the arena. I haven't seen it as a judge yet, but obviously it does happen. It's in there. So, and that's on page 31 of the NRCHA rulebook. Just while we're talking about that, I'll revert back to AQHA rules. On the AQHA rules, in those classes, if you're showing just strictly AQHA, you're allowed to ride cow horses with a chain curb strap, a broken mouthpiece bridle, like a correctional or something like that. You're allowed to ride in split reins. So that's the two differences between NRCHA and AQHA in our rule books. Some of these classes are run concurrent, so you need to be aware where you're running. If you're running for the national final stuff, you need to be on the NRCHA rules. If you're running AQHA, you can run in split reins, chain, a chain curb strap, and a broken mouthpiece. Okay, so that's the two clarifications you need to be aware of through the bridle classes. Pretty much the hackamores and the snaffle bet classes are exactly the same in their rules. 99% of the time. So it does change slightly, but we need to just check and just let me know if you're showing NRCHA or ARCHA or AQHA. I know there's a lot of acronyms, but we'll get there. Okay. The next thing is the ARCHA rules for the so that we touched on it briefly earlier. So if you're showing in the two-handed classes, it's open to everybody, regardless of skill level, any age of the horse, snaffle bit or hackamore. So that's the two clarifications in the snaffle bit classes, NRCHA snaffle bit classes, which are the full cow horse, which is the boxing and the advanced boxing. Okay, you can ride in any saddle in those classes in the ARCHA two-handed classes. Just clarify that. Chaps and chinks aren't required in those classes. In the open classes, or the bridle, the snaffle bit, and the hackamore in the full NRCHA class, ARCHA class, chinks and chaps are mandatory. Okay, so make sure you're aware of those rule changes in that. Okay, I think, you know, the thing you need to be aware of is you guys need to do a little research, and as I say, most of it is online. You can just Google it and it will come up. The other thing is we probably are more than happy for everybody to ride in a safety helmet if they want to. The youth kids have to ride in a safety helmet, AQHA and NRCHA. Okay, so you need to make sure your kids, if they're showing in the boxing or the limited cow work, they need to be wearing a helmet. Okay. For the qualifier for ARCHA, and this is a qualifier show, you need to be a member of ARCHA. That's the Australian body prior to the start of the show. Okay. And if you Google them, once again, it'll come up with ARCHA. Jay's down there. He'll give as much information as he can to you. He'll help you through any process. I think their memberships are due 1st of July. Become a member. It's a great body. I think they've been going for about, well, just over 2 years, and they've got over 500 members now. So it's just been amazing growth in the sport. Once again, their national finals is in November. And I think Jay or his mother-in-law will be up at the show, and they'll be able to answer a lot of your questions there as well. Okay, we might go on to now. We talk about the boxing classes. The boxing classes in NRCHA is a box on the end of the arena. You hold that cow on the end of the arena for 50 seconds. From my point of view as a judge, I like to see that the fact that when that cow's led into the arena, people step forward, they take control of that cow. It's not run it from fence to fence. The idea of a boxing is to teach that cow to turn. So later on, as you develop your skill set and you go into the advanced boxing and into the full cow horse, you teach that cow to turn and respect your horse. I see a lot of people, they sit right back, hoping that cow doesn't run over the top of them. I prefer to see, as a judge, to step forward and jump on that cow and just turn it away from him, push it back onto the fence and take control. We might go to that score sheet now, and we can just talk through the top of the score sheet. So we're going to go to the boxing score sheet, and you'll see this on the score sheet, what we're talking about. Just go down just now. So this is the boxing score sheet. They in America, they call it a limited cow work. So this is NRCHA. This is the latest one off 2021. It gives you a little bit about the scoring system there. You know what the credit is: maintaining proper position, degree of difficulty, IPL, timed work. So as I said, it's a 50-second class. You need to be jumping up there and taking control of your cow. Then it goes into the penalties. You'll go to, loss of working advantage, working out of position, excessive hollering. So that's if you're trying to use your voice to stimulate it. Okay. The 3-point penalty, loss of the cow. So it leaves the end of the arena. It rolls down the pen. So it gets past you. You still have the right to go down there and drive it back to the end of the fence, but you're going to incur a 3-point penalty. Okay. And then we've got our 5-point penalties, spurring and hitting in front of the sitch at any time, blatant disobedience. And that can be, as it says there, bucking, biting, rearing, so that covers your 5s. And then your nose scores is your tail turn, and I think everybody understands what that is. That's when your horse completely turns around and turns its hind end to the horse. 2 hands on a bridle, and that's if you're showing in a bridle. Fingers between the rein if you're showing in a with or a male. Balking, so that's a horse that refuses to go to a cow. You know, extremely out of control. So the judge will blow your whistle off. You know, and the other one is a no score, is abuse and lameness. Now, if the cow, you know, the judge has the opportunity to offer you a new cow, if he doesn't feel the cow respects you and honours you, he'll blow the horn twice and offer you a new cow. It can either be a whistle or a horn. Tropicana will have a horn, so he'll bump that horn twice. And you're to sit there, you're pretty much to stop your work if that's the situation, and somebody will come in the arena and take that cow and put it out the back. I can't stress enough that, and through all these events, that if you get offered a new cow, you don't have to take it. You can continue on, but don't think he's going to blow his horn the second time to give you another opportunity. He's only going to give you the one opportunity to change a cow. In that situation, you stop. The rider will take, the guy that comes out of the back pen will come and pick that cow up and take it out. You're not to help him. Otherwise, that's deemed that you're continuing to work or train on your horse, and that can be a disqualification. If we just move down a little bit, Jess, and we'll go through the score sheet just a fraction. So as a judge, I look at my score sheet and the scores between, you know, they say minus to plus. In that situation, the minus is a -1. The check minus is a -0.5. The checks are 0, and it pretty much relates back to a reining score sheet here. Check plus is a +0.5. A plus is a +1. A double plus is a +1.5. Okay, so we use those increments to go. So if you look back at your score sheet, you might see, you know, position control was a check, degree of difficulty was a check, your eye appeal was a check, your courage was a check plus, and your time work was a check plus. So as we work across that, we'll average that out, and it'll turn out to be a score of 71. Okay, so you've got checks and 2 plus half, so you get a half-point increment each time. Also, you'll see your penalty columns, your penalty 1 point, your 3 point, and your 5 point, and that relates to the top of the score sheet. So if you incur a penalty, the judge will put down there in your 1 point, he'll go an A or he'll go a B. And that should relate to the scores on the penalties on top of your score sheet. Okay, Jesse, if we go to the advanced boxing, or I think they call it beginner cow work in America, don't they? So this is the beginner cow work sheet, and this is the American sheet. So this is the box drive box in our rule book here in Australia. They've just gone to this beginner fence work. So it's a 1 minute 45 time limit on this class. Okay, so you get a minute 45. You have to show control on the end fence, so you box it on one end fence. You drive it down the side of the arena and show drive position, and we'll draw on the whiteboard in a minute and show you what a drive position is. We take it to the other end of the arena and we box it on the other end of the arena. So once again, we show control on the other end of the arena. And then we have to drive it back past the halfway line to have a completed run. Otherwise, we incur penalties, okay? So that's the beginner fence work, box drive box score sheet. So just don't get too confused on the wording on the top. This is just the new 2021 score sheet from America, okay? So it's the box drive box class. But you must bring it back past the halfway line. And we'll draw some pictures after. So just once again, you know, there's a guide to a new cow up the top there. It says cow won't run. Cow that doesn't respect the horse. When the cow leaves the arena, so the cow jumps out. The way I view the cow that doesn't respect the horse, and this is my own personal opinion, this is the way I've developed, the way I judge. If that cow comes out and it comes to your horse, and some of those cows will come out a little quick and they'll want to run straight at you. My indication for me as a judge is if that cow gets to your horse and breaks off, brakes laterally in any direction and turns away from you, I'll continue on. And if it comes back the second time and breaks away for the second time, I think that cow's a decent cow to work. If your horse is shying and running away from that cow, that's a different story again. I think that cow has to respect also. If it breaks off as it comes to the cow, I deem that cow to be a suitable cow to continue to work on. The thing I see sometimes when people are boxing at the start, they sit right deep down the arena and those cows keep coming at them. I take that a little bit in my degree of difficulty. I take my degree of difficulty down a little bit because they're not challenging that cow. They're not stepping up and pushing it back to the back fence. We go into the credits in the beginner fence work, and once again, they're pretty much the same as the boxing. Maintaining control of the cow at all times. Proper position, degree of difficulty, and eye appeal. Once again, there's the no scores there, which is abuse and lameness. The 1 point penalties in this is loss of working advantage, working out of position, changing sides on the second drive. So if you take it and you drive it down the right-hand side of the arena, so you box it, you drive it down the right-hand side of the arena, and then you box it on the other end fence, and then you bring it back down the left-hand side, it's going to incur a 1 point penalty, okay? And there's the 1 point penalty for failure to drive past the middle marker on the return, okay? So you're going to get if you don't get it back past the middle marker, you're going to get a 1 point penalty there on the return. Okay, and then you've got I misread that. Failure to drive past on the first way is a 1 point penalty. Failure to drive past on the middle mark on the second drive is a 3 point penalty. Knocking down a cow without having working advantage. So if that cow falls on its own merit, that's not a penalty. But if you knock it down, if you hit it from the hip and knock it over, that's a 3 point penalty. Losing control, it's just like the boxing. If you lose control in the end of the arena and that cow dictates the terms and breaks away, it's a 3 point penalty for leaving the end of the arena. And performing a fence turn is a 3 point penalty. So if you're driving it down to the other end and you go past and perform a fence turn, it's a 3 point penalty. Once again, your 5 point penalties are indicated there on the score sheet. And once again, the no scores are pretty similar to the boxing classes, okay? We just go down to the top of the score sheet there. Okay, so this score sheet is slightly different again to the boxing one. So it shows you'll get a score in the boxing column. You get a score in the rate, the drive, which is the drive down the side, and we call it run and rate. So we want to see that horse in a position where it has control of the cow and keeps it on the fence. Then you get a score on the box on the other end. So you hold it on the other end and show control. And, for me as a judge, if you get 3 or 4 blocks up there and show control, that's enough for me. As long as you've driven it to that other end and you've shown that you can control it on the other end, I'm going to score you on that. Okay. And then the next one is a drive back down the side fence. And once again, we score the run and rate. Position and control, degree of difficulty, eye appeal, and courage. Okay, so they're scores. So the judge will add that up. He might go, check on the boxing, check on the box drive, and you might have a check plus on the box on the top end, a check plus on the drive. Position control might be a check. Degree of difficulty might be a check, and we might give you a check plus on the eye appeal, check plus on the courage. So your end score, if you have no penalties, would be a 72. Okay. So we'll talk about those increments a little bit more on the whiteboard. So that's the beginner cow horse or box drive box, okay, class. Okay, Jess, let's go to the cow horse score sheet now and we'll have a look through that. Okay, there we go. So this is the full cow horse score sheet. Once again, the new cow guidelines are the same. The credits are the same. Okay. What we talk about now, we're going to the penalty side of things, which is the 1 point penalties is loss of working advantage. And that could be anywhere. That could be when you're boxing on the end. That could be when you turn. You might be laid out of a turn where your horse gets ahead, the cow gets ahead of you, and you've lost a bit of a working advantage. We'll talk about in a minute on the whiteboard about when the cow breaks the plane of the 1 point marker. So it's a 1 point marker on the side fence for the cow horse. We'll work that through on the whiteboard after. Changing sides of the arena to turn the cow, so you'll end up with a 1 point penalty there. Each length runs past the cow, so that's when you're running a rate and a turning on the fence. So each length it's passed. So as a judge, we'll assess it's gone one full body length of the horse past the cow, so it's a 1 point penalty. You can accumulate that to where that horse runs past by 3 lengths, so it's three penalties. So it's a cumulative of length of the horse. Okay, working out a position. A lot of the times we see that in the boxing where the horses are way outside a cow or not balanced with a cow. Okay, and there's a failure to drive past the middle marker before initiating the first turn. Okay, so that's another 1 point penalty. Once again, the excessive holderings there is a 1 point penalty. And we go on to our, just if you just roll it up just a little bit more. We go on to our 2 point penalties. So our 2 point penalties are going around the corner. An open field turn where the animal gets within 3 feet of the fence, and we'll come back and look at that on the whiteboard. And the failure to change sides and circling prior to the first circle. Okay, so we'll work through that as well. The 3 points penalties are exhausting or overworking before circling. So sometimes you'll get one there where your cow just stops. You run the legs off the cow and it just stops. In that situation, you just lope a circle around that cow both directions, but you're going to incur a 3 point penalty because you've exhausted your cow. Hanging up on your fence is a loss of lateral motion in your horse. So you'll run down on the side fence and get a turn, and that horse will get hung up. The cow leaves the fence and the cow leaves and turns, and you have a loss of lateral movement in your horse. It's classed as a freeze up on the fence. And once again, we talk about that 3 point penalty of knocking down a cow without having working advantage. That situation is pretty much, you either hock the cow or you bump it on the hip and tip it over. It just means you're not in a good position to control a cow. You're just we've got our 0 scores there again. Your tail turns, use your 2 hands in the bridle rein, so that's with your ramal. Fingers between the rein, once again in a bridle class. You're walking extremely out of control. So if you hear the judge blow that whistle and you think you're doing a great run, stop immediately, because he probably deems you're out of control. Bloody mouth, illegal equipment. Leaving the working arena before the pattern's finished. So, if you make the box of cow on the end of the fence and then you think you've had enough and you leave, that's a 0 score. Okay. Fall a horse or rider. This fall a horse or rider, we don't see it a lot, but the horse is deemed to have fallen when all 4 feet are in the one direction. Okay, so just be clear on that. I've had instances at Equitana a couple of years ago where Rob Leach's horse fell, and he still had 1 foot curled up underneath him. He had 3 out in the one direction, had 1 foot curled up underneath his rib cage. And the rule states they have to extend in the same direction, 4 feet extended in the same direction. So that's something you'll see every now and then. And this is the rule I was talking about before, schooling horse between the cow and a new cow is awarded. So it's critical that you guys don't, if you get awarded a new cow, that you don't go to schooling. And that's, pulling them around and make them get on their hind end and roll them over their hocks or trying to help the guy get the cow out of the arena. So just be aware of that. If you're offered a new cow, just sit still, go walk circles somewhere. I know Steve Fake's judging this, and he'd be pretty good at you. He'll probably remind you and tell you to come over here and walk circles in front of him. So just be aware of that. And once again, scores are your abuse and your lameness. Righto. We might go back to just check with Jess. Have we got any questions coming yet, Jess? You there, Jess?
Yeah, we've just got one question.
Yes.
Can you please explain to everyone what a 2-point penalty C means?
2-point penalty C. Okay. Corner penalty. Okay. That's okay. We'll draw a bit of a diagram here in a second, Dolan. The 2-point C. Oh, failure to change sides. A circle. Okay, right. We'll draw that picture up. Okay. Yep. Okay. And that sort of more happens in an open field turn. Okay. We can draw that up. So we'll just remind me of that, Jess, and we'll go back to that question. Okay. Okay. What we might do now is we'll just go to the whiteboard. I'll just click onto the whiteboard. We're just going to draw a few pictures here. Now, don't pick on my drawing. Okay. Okay, guys. We'll start on the first class, which is the boxing classes. We'll just draw our pen here. Well, actually, we will talk about the square pen and where our penalties lie. So in a square pen situation, you know, from my point of view as judge, I'll always have out, you know, my center marker for my rain and pattern, and then I'll have another marker, you know, 50 feet off the end fence, which will be my stop marker. Okay. And then also on this fence, if we're running the reining and the cows at the same stage, you'll have a second marker on your fence, and usually that marker will have one cross line across it. That's your 1-point marker. So if you're running your cow down your fence and you go past that marker before you get a turn, that's a 1-point penalty. And this is just on your square pen arenas. And then further 20 feet past that, we'll have the 2-point marker, okay? And then usually the corner marker, and it'll have a double line across it to indicate that it's a 2-point marker, okay? So they're your penalty markers. Sometimes when you go in there, you run your rain and pattern, and you'll find your center and you'll find your stopping markers. And then you'll also see these other markers on the wall. But we'll make sure that they've got tape on them that indicate the 1-point penalty marker and the 2-point penalty marker. Okay. And then if we'll just take this off for a second. As I said, I'm not the greatest of drawers. And we'll go back to if we have an oval situation. So we've got an oval end of our pen. Okay. Once again, we've got our center markers. We'll have a 1-point marker. It'll have the line across it. And then usually in an oval pen, the 2-point markers is around the corner. Okay. And it'll have 2 lines across it, indicated it's a 2-point marker. Okay. So there are penalty markers. So it's a 1-point penalty past that and a 2-point penalty around the corner. Okay. So we've come back to this is our square pen, and we're going to talk a little bit about the boxing class, okay? So normally this will be where the cow comes in this top end. When the cow's let out, as a competitor, you know, I'd like to be in a good central position here in the middle of the pen, ready to take this cow. And it's your job to call for your cow. So once you get into that position, you call for your cow. The guy or whoever's on the gate will open the gate. The 50 seconds, so you've got 50 seconds on this class. Just don't worry about my drawing. So you've got 50 seconds. So the 50 seconds starts once the gate closes, okay? So don't think the clock's going to start while the gate's still open. So once the gate closes, that's the indication to start the time. The thing as a judge I like to see is this competitor take this step, take a step forward, take control of your cow, and break your cow off in these directions, okay? The reason for a boxing is to teach that cow to turn, so it's a progression to going down the fence. So I like to see a competitor step forward, take control of a cow. And I don't like to see the cow run from fence to fence. I'd like the competitor to get over in this position here, turn the cow away from him, get over in this position over here, turn the cow away from him, okay? So you're actually teaching that cow to turn away from you and respect your horse, okay? So it's a 50-second class. It's to show control on the end fence, okay? And as a judge, as I said, I like to see those guys to be really, show that degree of difficulty, show that courage, step forward and take control of that cow, okay? As I said, I personally don't like to see him bump off the side fences. For me, that takes a little the degree of difficulty and the control off the score sheet, because you're not actually teaching those cows to turn. The fence is teaching them to turn, okay? We talk about the 3-point penalty of the cow leaving the end fence. So if this cow, come from this position here and ran over here and ran down here, that's a 3-point penalty right there, okay? I'll just take this 50 seconds off here. So this is a 3-point penalty once that cow leaves the end of the arena. This is in the boxing class, okay? So once again, work on this angle here and this angle here and really show control. Make sure you can get that cow to turn away from you each time, okay? And show the judge that you're in control of that cow. Don't let that cow take control of you, okay? So once again, 50 seconds, show control, and the time starts when the gate closes, okay? We'll just take this off here and go again for our beginner cow work or a box drive box class. So this is our pen once again. Okay, so once again, you'll start in this position in the center. You have to show control of this cow. You need to step up once again and show me once again that you're going to take this cow and in these directions, and the cow's going to turn away from you. So you're showing me that you're controlling that cow on the end fence. You're making sure you block that cow, you teach it to turn. For me as a judge and a competitor, I like to take this cow to where I know it's starting to listen to my horse and it's starting to respect my horse. So I might make more turns on this end before I go down the fence. Just remember, it's 1 minute 45 time on this, okay? So that's your time allowed on this class is 1 minute 45. Once again, it starts once the gate closes. When I've got respect on this end fence, I'm going to take this cow. I'm going to, as again, step up here, take this cow, and I like to see a competitor drive it right to this corner, okay, before he comes around the corner. So drive it in this corner, turn your corner, and drive it down the fence. So if this is my cow in this position here, I like to see my horse here in a really nice position. So this is my rate position, okay? So that horse has got control of the cow. He's going to drive it down that fence. He's going to take it around the corner onto this end fence. Once again, he's going to get his turns back this way. His turns back this way. He's going to show control on his cow, okay? So this is the beginner cow work or box drive box class. To finish this class off in the minute 45, he must also bring this cow back around the corner and past the center line, okay? Otherwise, he'll incur a 3 penalty on that, okay? So is everybody clear on? So that's your beginner cow work class. I know there's lots of squiggly lines on here, but once again, we'll run through it. Accept the cow, show control on the end fence. As I said, as a judge, I like to see it come right to this corner and take control down the side fence. Your position needs to be in a position where at any stage, that next development is a full cow. You can step past this cow to turn on the fence, okay? That's the position we'd like you to be in, somewhere where you're in control. This class, you'll drive it to the end fence, turn, and show control on the other end fence. Once you finish showing control, drive it back past halfway before your time is gone, okay? And let's go on to the full cow horse.
Just before you move on,
Yep.
We just have a question.
Yes.
Does the cow have to come back up the same side of the fence as it went down?
Yep. Yep. Yes. Otherwise, you incur a penalty. Okay. And that penalty is, let me just go back to my rule book because so it's a 1 point penalty for changing side of the arena on that drive, second drive. Okay. Does everybody understand that? So so it's a 1 point for changing sides on the drive. Okay. Okay, and it comes under C, so it's a 1 point C on the beginner cow work or the box drive box class. Okay. Does that clear that up, Jess?
Yep.
Okay. So the next one I'm going to go to is the full cow horse class. Okay.
Just another question.
Yep.
Is there a minimum amount of turns at each end?
No, it's just you show control. It's up to you to show the judge that you have that beast under control. Predominantly, when a cow comes in, you're going to get, 3 or 4 or 5 turns on there so it respects you. Okay. And then you're going to take it and drive it to the other end. And, you've got to remember this has a time limit on it. So you're going to have to be active about what you're doing. So you need to get it to the other end and show control at the other end. And on the second end, I'd like to see 3 or 4 turns there and then come back. You don't have to use up the minute and 45. If you get your job done quicker than that, the judge is going to score you accordingly. If you show a degree of difficulty where you step up, get it boxed on one end, drive it to the second end, box it on the other end, drive it back past centre, you're going to be more of an advantage than somebody that's just sneaking back past the centre line at the end of minute 45. Okay?
Yep. Just another question.
Yes.
In the cow horse classes, there is often some confusion amongst competitors regarding which side of a fence a competitor is allowed to run the cow down. Preference is obviously for the side opposite the judge. However, is there any penalty for taking a cow down the same side that the judge is located?
No, there's no penalty. It just makes the judge a little harder to see the quality of work. Okay. And most pens have a preferred side, like cows will work better on one side than the other. But there's no penalty. The only penalty is when the cow crosses, a 1 point penalty, the cow crosses the arena to get your second turn. Okay. Does that clear that up? Was that from you, Megan? I think that.
Yeah, that's from Megan.
Yeah. So no, there's not a designated side. It's whatever side that the cow runs best. Predominantly, Scone runs the stable side. They run better, but they can run down either side as long as you get your turns on that side and continue on from that side. Okay. So this is our cow horse class we're going to move on to now. Once again, I kind of like to see somebody that steps in here and bumps that cow off straight away. Sometimes I've judged and I've seen guys sort of sit in the middle of the pen here and their horses leap side to side to side and the cow stands at this end and looks at them and goes, well, that's impressive. To me as a judge, you haven't engaged that cow. You need to step into that situation and engage that cow because you're meant to be showing control. Okay. So just be aware of that. If you need to step up there and take control of that animal and show me that you are working the cow, not the cow working you. Okay. Once again, get some good turns and teach this cow to drive across his fence. So don't be afraid to take it 3/4 of the way over here and get it bumped back to the fence, and 3/4 of the way over here and bump back to the fence. Predominantly we like to see, from a judge's point of view, you to turn this cow to the fence. It shows me that you're teaching it to stop and turn for when you go down the fence and do a turn each way. Okay. So make sure you teach that cow to turn away from you, preferably. That's where you want him to be, in this boxing phase. And then we're going to take this cow, and once he's here, we're going to drive him once again. I like to see him drive deep into this corner, and being our cows, we'll put our center markers in and our 1 point penalty markers in, so we can go through with it. I'd like the cow to run past halfway and turn into the fence, and I'd like, as say we'll put our cow here, you need to be on that cow's hip when you're traveling down the fence. Okay, you need to be in a really strong position, and that's part of the score in the run and rate. You need to turn it before these are 1 point markers here, so 1 point penalty, 1 point's on the bottom here. Okay, we'll run off screen. So these are your 1 point penalty markers, and they'll have a line across them. Okay, you need to turn inside that. Once again, come back this direction, turn inside that. Okay, and then bring your cow for your circling work. You need to make sure this comes and balances up in the center of the pen. Okay, and center in the pen. So I like to see a cow complete a good figure of 8 in the center of the pen with the changes aside to finish your work in your cow horse class. That's where I judge it. If the fences get involved, like if you're over here doing your circles and there are fences involved, it's going to affect your score. We'll just go back and we'll talk about an open field turn as well. So sometimes you'll come with a cow and it'll run off your fence out here. Okay, you need to get your horse to commit to a stop to turn this horse, and this is where they talk about an open field turn where the horse fails to stop. It makes it a circling turn, so it incurs a penalty on that. Okay, so even if it's off the fence, as long as you get it turned, your horse gets stopped and turns it, it's still a legal deal. The thing that will affect you in that open field turn, if you get down in this situation before you get your turn and come back, you're within 3 feet of the fence, you'll get a penalty, a 2 point penalty. Okay, so 3 feet, it's American terms, and then it's a 2 point penalty. Okay, if you get within 3 feet of the fence in an open field turn. Okay. We'll duck back and have a look at that score sheet and clarify that in a second. Okay.
Yep, just another question. Is there a penalty for not doing the circles in the center of the pen, or is it just going to be a maneuver deduction?
It's just going to be a maneuver deduction. Okay. Yeah. Control, and a lot of this class is about show and control. Okay. Okay. So, for me, for degree of difficulty, I appeal position and control. If you get, you get your box, you get, your box here on this end, and you get the cow to turn to here, and you come across and the cow turns to here, and you get 3 turns here. You drive it to the corner, you get a turn here and a turn here, and then you take it and you circle it here, change your sides. And you're quick about it, that's going to be a high scoring run, that's where your degree of difficulty comes in. The person's only taken 2 or 3 licks on the end, made a turn each direction and gone to figure an 8. And it's a tough deal to get done like that. So that's where the judges will go to their score sheets and plus up. Okay. We were asked a question before, and this is my interpretation of it as, if somebody comes down here, and I was talking about a turn and not changing sides on a cow. So if you come down here and you do a circling turn, and then you just wrap it up and then change figure 8s, that's where that penalty comes in. Okay, I think that was the C penalty, the 2 point C penalty that was asked about before, Jess. I'll just run back through that. So it's it's in this situation. So this cow runs off the fence here. You don't commit to a stop. You just do a circling turn, and you follow around to start your figure 8. That's where that C penalty comes in. A 2 point C penalty comes into into terms there. Okay. Ideally, and this is something that I picked up at the seminar when we talk about circling. So this is if we're circling my cow, and I see a lot of this at the stage. So this is my cow here, and we're running a circle in this direction. And I think it's something the camp drafters struggle with, and it would have been nice to talk to them prior to ARBC, is if somebody sits in this position here, okay, and they're off the hip of the cow, just by that horse being in that position, this cow will continue around in the circle, okay? Okay. To me, that is a check minus position, okay, circling a cow. If you get up into this position here to circle cow, so you're sitting on its hip, you go to a check position, okay? If you get right up here, let me get my pen to work. Get up in this position here, you're in a check plus position on a cow to get it to turn, okay? And then if we take that out, and you're right up in this position here, and you're making that cow turn, that's a plus, okay? That's where we go into that plus situation. So just be aware is if you're back here, you're in a check minus. If you're back further, you're in a minus position, this position here. So this is a minus, this is a check minus position. This position here is a plus position. This position in the middle here is probably just going to be a check, and the one if you're right in here is a check plus. Okay, that's just on your circling. We see a lot of it where guys will sit back in this position, and it's kind of like mostly the guys that are drafted a lot, because that's where they're going to sit and push a cow around a peg. And as I say, the cow will naturally bend off them, but it's not in a controlled position. So the further you get forward, the more you get in that cow's eye, the better the score system is going to be. Okay.
Yep. So just a couple of questions.
Yep.
Are there rules as to which direction you start with the figure 8 turn? Is it left or right? Are there rules to how you start these figure of 8s?
No, it's just the way the cow comes off the fence and the position you're in. Ideally, if you make a right-hand turn down the fence and you come off and you direct it to the center and you switch to the left-hand side, you're going to get a degree of difficulty improve, okay? But instead of just coming out there off the fence and tracking it around. So a lot of the good guys these days will turn to get it right. So if they're coming down the fence, they'll get this turn here, take it to this position here, and then change sides. So they'll come back out this side and circle it this way. And that's more to do with degree of difficulty and control and eye appeal. Okay. So that's the way it's judged. Okay.
Yep. And just another question. Is the tighter the figure of 8, the better?
Yes. Yeah. Showing complete control of the cow. Yeah. That's what we'd like to see, is show complete control of the cow. Okay.
Yep. And just one more.
Yep.
When a horse does an open field turn, is there a credit given if he stops and turns the beast like he would down a fence?
No credit given, but it's just it's eye appealing, so it's going to score up in the eye appeal column. Yeah. I think I in the futurity 99 futurity in the 2019 futurity in the States, Spud Sheehan, who's an Australian guy, a cutting guy, he done 2 open field turns and still scored up in the class he was in. So as long as that horse commits to the ground and stops and turns, it doesn't do a circling turn. Okay. The other thing I see a lot, and people question it when I'm judging. If this guy comes down the fence for his first run and he turns a cow, and that cow pops out here, and the horse commits, and it's buried in its hocks, and it's got a huge amount of control in that beast, and that cow just pops out behind him here. I might have scored this a plus turn on the cow, and it pops out. It's not, as long as he doesn't lose working advantage and he comes out and gathers his cow, and it happened several times at ARBC, and he gets back in control and runs it down this fence and gets turned here. As long as he doesn't get out of position, this is still considered to be a check plus maneuver, okay? So, and you'll see it happen on those really, really tough turns on the fence. Those horses get deep. The cow's probably bumped them, and they're so committed to the ground, the cow just pops out behind them. And as long as the rider doesn't lose any advantage or loses position, jumps out there and picks that cow back up and drives it back around in a circle and comes to his second turn, he's still in a good position. It's when, in that situation, that he makes his turn here, and this cow ends up over here and nearly bumps into the other fence, and this guy's back in this position, that's when you're going to go check minus or a minus, and you can go to a P out of position on his score sheet, okay? So he's too far behind to engage in this cow, okay? The other one I did see, and I hadn't seen it as a judge, and it happened at ARBC, is a guy, he came in and he made work, because I think they come in from this end at ARBC. He made a turn, this turn here, and it was a left turn, and this cow blew out around here and went down this fence, and he made another left turn. Okay, so he incurred that penalty for not making a turn each way. Does everybody understand that one? Okay, so he's actually made two left turns. And if you look at the score sheet, and we might go back to the score sheet, Jesse. Can you just go back to the cow work score sheet? Okay. So he's come to that position where it comes over in a 5-point penalty, not getting a turn each way. So that's what I just explained there, was about, he'd made a left turn and a left turn. We just moved down on the score sheet, Jess. So on the score sheet, you'll see in the boxes, I usually put down in my boxes here for my form and quality of turns as I make sure I'll go on this side for my left and this side for my right to start off with. And then I know if I've come to this side again, he's made two right turns. Okay, so just when I'm judging, I'm just make sure that I'm putting them turns down.
Yep, just a question about that.
Yep.
If he did those two left turns, but then did a right turn on the second fence, would that have been okay?
Yeah. Well, if you go back to scroll down to the top of the score sheet. Yeah. So the 5-point is not getting a turn each way. Okay. So he's still, by doing that third turn to the right, puts him back into getting a turn each way. Do you understand that? He just has to show a turn each way. So two left turns is not a turn each way. By putting that third turn in, brings him back to where he's on pattern. Okay. The other thing, just scroll down to your score sheet, and I'll just work through it. So, as a judge, we look at this score sheet and we go, and it's broken down really well. It gives us a huge amount of information to give back to the competitor. And as a judge, I write down on this score sheet what you do. I don't have to interpret that much anymore. I just put down what you do in front of me. So I assess your boxing, and I put that down there. So I mark that straight away. And usually my scribe's got it at this stage. So I'll say, check plus. And then we'll go to our first quality, first turn. We go check plus or a check. Second turn is a check. Third turn is a check plus. So on that box where it says form and quality of turns, we average that score. Okay, so you'll probably see when you see your score sheets that one of those scores has got a circle around it, and that's the average of that score. Okay. Then we'll go on and they'll circle. So I'll score their right circle, I'll score their left circle, no matter which way they go, the first circle or second circle when they're wrapping up. So I'll score that. And then normally the steward will give me the score sheet back. And I'll remember what their rate was. So that's when they run down the fence and they're rating the cow. And usually it's influences by the quality of turn. So if you've got a check plus and a check plus in here, your run rate's going to be a check plus, because you're in a nice position to get your turns. A lot of people look at their score sheet and go, well, hang on here, I've got 2 check pluses in my form and quality, my form and quality of turns. How come my score's down? Just remember, in that box, there's only one score comes out of that. So you've got a score in your boxing, a score in your rating. You'll get one score that comes out of your form and quality of turns. Then you'll get a score off each of your circles, position and control, degree of difficulty, eye appeal. Okay, that builds up your score. So just remember that form and quality of turns is an average box. So that box is average. You may have up to 4 turns in that box, and they're averaged out. So you might have your first turn as a plus turn, your second turn is a minus turn, and your third turn is a check plus turn. So your average is going to come up to a check plus. Okay, so that's the one that probably confuses most people. So we just got to remember that form and quality of turns box is an average box. Okay, what else we got, Jess? We got some more questions?
Not any questions at the moment, but people are welcome to send any through.
Okay. So just if anybody's got any questions on the score sheet, just send the question through. We might just duck back and have a look at the program for Tropicana again. Let me just pop that up. There you go. Yeah. Got that there, Jessa?
Yep.
Okay. Let's just scroll down to the cows. Keep going down, Dale. Okay. Just go back up a little bit, sweetie. Just back up. No, just where the cows classes start. Keep going down. Keep going. There, Dale. Up a little bit. Okay. Keep going up. A little further. Okay. It's the start of the cow. Sorry. That's better. Okay. So just to clarify, so the boxing is the ARCHA classes, and that class is open to anyone regardless of their skill level, the age of the horse, and to any age of the horse, snaffle bit, hackamore, and any saddle. Okay, chaps and chinks aren't required. Okay, in the two-handed advanced boxing classes, the rules are exactly the same for the ARCHA, so that's in the two-handed classes. Once again, any skill level, any age of the horse, snaffle bit or hackamore. So you have to show those age horses a snaffle bit or a hackamore in the two-handed classes. And the same with the feature class on the Saturday night. It's an ARCHA two-handed class. We'll just go back to that. So this is the class we're talking about here. So that's the Saturday night feature. So class 242. That's a two-handed class. Okay. Probably the only other thing we need to talk about on this is the reining pattern. So the reining pattern is first, and then you'll receive your cow. We'll run reining pattern, then your cow work straight away. The reining patterns will be up Wednesday next week for the cow horse classes and the ranch classes. If there's any issues, just let me know. Just scroll down just to keep going down to the Sunday classes for me. Okay, so on the Sunday classes, just be aware that in the snaffle bit, the hackamore and the bridle classes and the two rein classes, they can run concurrent. So there's AQHA rules and NRCHA rules. It doesn't affect the judging of the class. It just affects your qualifying for the ARCHA finals. So if you're showing for ARCHA finals, you'll need to ride in the correct attire, okay? And we'll make sure that everybody's aware of that on the day, okay? So have we got any more questions, Jess? So we've got a question here. Do you need to be an NRCHA member? You only need to be an NRCHA member if you would like to compete at the national finals, okay? If you just want to show at our show, you just have to pay the insurance fee, the show insurance fee. But if you want to qualify for the national finals for ARCHA, you'll need to be an ARCHA member, and they're due the 1st of July. Okay, and you can go on their website, and the membership form's on there. Okay.
And just another question. Should the check pluses and the minuses and penalties add up exactly, or can the judge change the final score?
They should add up exactly. That's the way we do it. It's sometimes the judge may change things slightly, but only by half a point. But it should add up. I try to make sure they add up. Okay. At this stage, you've really got to check your scribes and your stewards because it's such a new score system. It's become, I find it easy to work now. I enjoy it because I can just write things down on a piece of paper and I don't have to remember it. Once upon a time when I first got my AQHA judge's ticket, we used to have a system between 60 and 80, and you just pull a figure out of the back of your head and say, well, that looked like a 75 run. Where these days the score sheet does all the work for you. If you put all your right marks down on the score sheet, it should give you the end result. The other thing with the cow horse classes, you can't score below 60 if you complete your run. So it's not like where you're going to get a 58 or a 54 or a 52. 60 is the bottom number, 80 is the top number. Okay. We got any other questions, Jess?
Not at the moment.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, we'll probably wrap it up soon. Once again, this is something that we've done on behalf of Tropicana. I spoke a little to Jay Gordon the other day about it. As we get the borders back open and we can fly guys back in from the States, Jay will run some more NRCHA judges seminars. The last one we had was with Andy Adams, come out prior to the cutting futurity in 2019. And Andy is one of those guys that's really passionate about the sport. He was really good to deal with. He was strict. He was straightforward. He could let you know exactly what it was. There was no second guessing, and I really found that enjoyable. We're going to work. I spoke to Shane Massingham the other day when we done that little interview at Gatton of helping AQHA develop some more forum type things like this. Once again, this was done off the bat at Tropicana. It's not a judge's seminar. It's more about informing you guys on the rules and regulations of the classes, the positions, and that you should need to be in to maximise your points, and go and have fun. I think from my point of view, the way that NRCHA and ARCHA are developing this, as I said earlier, once upon a time all you had was cow horse. Now you can start this at the boxing level. You can go into the the advanced boxing or the beginner cow horse, and then go into the cow horse is great. The reining patterns I'll keep for Tropicana, for the guys that are doing the beginner, the boxing and doing the advanced cow work or the advanced boxing, box drive box. I'll keep those patterns pretty simple. They'll be, you know, a lead change, a turn, 2.5 turns each way. So we'll keep it pretty simple for you guys. We'd love to have you there. Just remember that entries close Monday, and they can be found on our website. Any issues, you know, I know Michelle's on here and Jess is on here. They're part of the Tropicana team. They will help you through that. My phone number's all over the place. So if you need something, just give me a ring. We can help you through it. We'd prefer you to see in the show pen than sitting on the sidelines. As I said, I'll continue to work with AQHA to see if we can get some more stuff up online for them. And I know Jay's trying to get the guys back out here from the States to run some judges seminars. And from my point of view, don't be afraid of those judges seminars. Turn up, you know, turn up and learn as much information as you can get, become better show competitors. I'm going to talk to him a little bit about, you know, running some more events like this, or even just getting people into the room so we can help them. I just see a question come up about beginner boxing. Was that for the ranch versatility class? Yeah, I'm just not sure. So the beginner boxing for the ranch versatility class on the Friday, it's just the boxing phase. So you don't have to do the reining phase. You just do the boxing phase of that. So you just hold a cow and then fence for 50 seconds. In the cow horse section with the boxing phase, you have to do the reining pattern and do the boxing on the end fence. And same with the advanced fence cow work or the beginner cow work. Okay, you have to do the reining pattern, then do the box drive box section. Okay, guys, we might call it a night if there's no other questions. You know, you've all got my information there. Once again, I'm surprised that there was like 6,000 people, you know, took interest in this. So obviously that we need to talk to the industries involved and say, hey, it's out there. You know, I'm not telling you that this is 100% gospel. This is the way I interpret it. You know, there's Bill Inks, the head of judging for NRCHA in America, and you know, hopefully we can get him or one of his guys out here in the near future to do some more seminars and help us all develop. Okay, guys, I'll probably leave it there. Any other questions, just send to our email address and we'll get back to you. Okay. Thanks, guys.